Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame's inaugural enshrinement celebration and dinner. Please welcome Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame Chairman, Vincent Cimini.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the inaugural enshrinement celebration of the new Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame. I'd like to open the evening by extending our sincere congratulations to our 17 honorees. As players and as pillars of the game, our charter class represents the very best of our state's rich and illustrious 120-year hockey history. They've been called the Mount Rushmore of Rhode Island hockey. In fact, if the length of this evening's ceremonies were of no concern, and they certainly are, dozens more could have been elected to this charter class with hardly an eyebrow being raised as to their worthiness. That's how deep our history of excellence on the ice has been. Perhaps it's modesty, perhaps we've simply taken our achievements for granted. But one thing is for certain. For the past 120 plus years, this small state has had an impact on the game of hockey few states can compare with. 2 years ago, a handful of us from the Rhode Island Reds Heritage Society and Rhode Island Hockey decided to correct that oversight, to unearth a rich but sometimes buried and forgotten history, to chronicle our milestones, and to pay tribute to our hockey heroes and their accomplishments. There are many people to thank for this evening, beginning with a group of directors dedicated to putting in the time, who met together more than 30 times over the past 2 years to get us to this moment, and a highly qualified selection committee that distinguished itself with its evaluations, its impartiality, and integrity. I'd like them all to stand and be recognized. A special thanks to the Chase family, our platinum partner, whose ancestor, Malcolm Green Chase, born and raised here in Central Falls, is widely regarded as the father of ice hockey, not only in Rhode Island, but in the entire United States. To our gold partner, Bank Rhode Island, our silver partner, thank you, Providence College, and for the generous financial support of the Moran family. Thanks also to the media, and the many advertisers, designers, artists, photographers, researchers, schools, and friends of our vast hockey community who generously contributed to an enshrinement celebration and program truly worthy of the achievements it pays tribute to. Most of all, thank you, this evening's guests. Among you, moms and dads, coaches and officials, fans, friends, families, and future Hall of Famers as well, whose passion for the game and commitment to your children, your programs, your communities, and your schools has been passed down over 6 generations and continues to fuel our proud hockey history. In the coming months, we hope to install an interactive wall of fame, a public memorial at the Dunkin' Donuts Center to pay perpetual tribute to our inductees. Eventually, we plan to create a museum exhibit to memorialize our illustrious hockey history and charitable programs to expand the opportunities for more young Rhode Islanders to play and enjoy this great game. To accomplish this, we will need your help, and we thank you in advance for your continued support. We conceived this Hall of Fame to be more than just a tribute to great players or a memorial to fond memories. We hope you see it as we see it, as an investment in the future of Rhode Island hockey, an inheritance of overwhelming evidence and inspiration we leave to future generations that in Rhode Island, hockey dreams really do come true. Now it is my great pleasure to turn the podium over to a sportscaster known to all of us in New England, and the only person to have called play-by-play for the Bruins, Celtics, Red Sox, Patriots, and Revolution. A warm Rhode Island welcome, please, for our nearby Bellingham neighbor and Master of Ceremonies for this evening, Mr. Dale Arnold.
Good evening. 2 weeks ago, I had the honor of emceeing an event for the Basketball Hall of Fame at Mohegan Sun. But I worked for Lou Lamoriello. I got thrown out of Adelard by Bill Belial because I didn't know about the no parents at practice rule. I saw Sarah DaCosta play. I called a Women's World Championship in Minneapolis when Cammie Granado was playing. I called Bruins games when Brian Berard was playing. I called New Jersey Devils games when Chris Terreri was playing. I saw Keith Carney, Matthew Schneider, Brian Lawton play, and I saw Ron Wilson coach. My daughter played on back-to-back state championship teams at Mount, which was, of course, played at Providence. So let it suffice to say, this is more my kind of event, and you are more my kind of people. There could honestly be no better way to launch an inaugural Hockey Hall of Fame induction than the way only Rhode Island could, because only Rhode Island can boast that it is the home of the father of ice hockey in the United States. Malcolm Green Chase was born in 1875 in Central Falls. He was a world-class tennis player, but his greatest accomplishment in sport was not his later enshrinement into the Tennis Hall of Fame here in Newport. It was his introduction of ice hockey to the United States. Malcolm also excelled at ice polo, the ice skating game played in New England and the upper Midwest before hockey. In the winter of 1894, at the invitation of the Victoria Hockey Club of Montreal, Malcolm assembled a 7-man ice polo team the Canadians tabbed the All-Americans. The team, which included 4 Brown undergrads, barnstormed the major Canadian cities with exhibitions of ice polo, while their hosts taught them the skills and rudiments of ice hockey to bring back to the States. The rest is Rhode Island and USA hockey history. Please welcome to the stage great-grandson Malcolm and great-great-grandsons Ryan and Jonathan to present the first annual Malcolm Green Chase Memorial Trophy to be awarded for lifetime achievement and contribution by a Rhode Islander to the game of ice hockey.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Malcolm Chase. On behalf of the entire Chase family, I would like to thank the Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame for the privilege of honoring our great-grandfather's legacy by honoring those Rhode Islanders who have spent a lifetime passing the passion he found for this game on to each new generation. Our inaugural Chase Vase is awarded to a Cranston native who started at LaSalle Academy before helping to lead Dartmouth to an unprecedented 46-game unbeaten streak, including a national championship in 1947. The following year, he would be selected Rhode Island's very first Olympic hockey player, scoring a remarkable 16 goals and 5 assists in the 1948 games in St. Moritz. Stateside, he would help lead his team to a national AAU title captured right here in Providence, and then to the national AHA title in Ohio. His professional career was highlighted by a 33-goal season with the Boston Olympics in 1951. After his playing days, he became a dedicated youth hockey coach, while also helping to establish the Rhode Island Ice Hockey Officials Association. In 1966, he was elected president of the National Ice Hockey Officials Association, the only Rhode Islander to ever serve in that capacity. On behalf of the entire Chase family, it is our privilege to present the first Malcolm Green Chase Memorial Trophy to Mr. Ralph Warburg.
Hi, everybody. There's an old saying that the older you get, the better player you were. That's probably why I'm here tonight. But anyway, I would like to take a few words up. I did this a few years ago. The Reds had a thing in order to water, and I spent most of my time speech tonight talking about a dear friend of mine, Brad Horse, who did a lot to help hockey in South County, Rhode Island, with the rink down there. We now have 4 high school teams. We have a girls scout club, girls hockey school, and boys hockey school, and they're doing great in South County, so I congratulated him for that. So tonight I'd like to thank, to honor Dick Londo, one of the first guys that I honored, I try to amplify. He played the whole team 1938, and they lost a mountain 1-0, and I was at the game, in a very controversial game. He played with Dick Londo there, and of course Dick McLaughlin was a famous hockey coach, and everybody in Cranston knows Dick. That was the first game. So Dick Londo started the 46-game streak, and there was one game in there on the 15th or 20th game. Dick McLaughlin and I went up to see the game. It was a 4-4 tie. So that was a tie in the streak. In 45, I guess it was. We were undefeated that year, and the next year we went down to play Yale for the 47th game. And the goalie was Terry Van Ingen, who had been our goalie the year before at Dartmouth. He was in the V-12 Marines, and I was in the Navy up there then, and he beat us 5-4. So that ended the streak. So Dick started, and I ended it. 2 Rhode Island guys quite a few years later on. Well, as far as the Olympics go, it was very controversial over there. We didn't know, we went to bed whether we were going to play the next day or not. We had 2 teams over there, and our Dartmouth team, we had 4 guys on my team, Jackie Riley, of course, and Billy Riley, and myself, and the goalie, Bruce Mather, and the goalie, Dick Desmond, on the Olympic team. Not just Dick was on that team, he was on the other team. But so we had 4 on our team over there, and 3 others. We had 7 Dartmouth guys in the 47 team over the Olympics, and only 4 of us could play. So they marched and we played. First game was we got upset by Switzerland, the host team, because we had beaten them before, but they beat us 5-4, and I got 3 goals in the 3rd period, but you don't brag about that when you lose the game. The last game, the scores would run up all the time. We beat Italy 30-1, and that's still a record, I think. That was because in those days the rules were, in case of ties, either goal difference or total goal would determine the ties. So the last game, believe it or not, the next to last game was Czechs against Canadians. Canadians walked us, they knocked me out in the 1st period, but they killed us anyway. They're a great team. So Canada played Czech to a 0-0 tie, which is unbelievable. But it happened that way. So the last game of the Olympics was us against the Czechs. So the Canadians were on the same hotel, and there were a bunch of great guys. I had 3 or 4 guys on the Canadian mounted team. One was the one who put me out. But we played our best game. They only beat us 4-3. And the guy that got the winning goal was the guy I was supposed to be covering, a winger. His name was Drobny. And you might have heard of him because he was a famous tennis player, and he actually won Wimbledon. So you go over to Newport, you'll see a thing there for him in the Tennis Hall of Fame. He won the Wimbledon. He was great #1 in tennis at the time. After that, I went to after the Canadians beat us, I cashed Lou Cleary's check and gave me to be on his list because I to spend some money in San Francisco. We were pure amateurs in those days, really pure. So then I went to Red's training camp, and that was quite a training camp. Terry's Red's first year, and the only rookie they took was Daniel Ricky, who I don't think he played for the Reds, because Lou traded him right away to the Reds to the Rangers for a lot of dough, and one real good player. I can't think of his name. He's a big, tall forward. So I didn't make that team, so George Army, the trainer, put a call to George Boothman, who had played for the Reds and was now coaching a new team going up in Milwaukee and what was in the National League. There's only 6 NHL teams and only 8 American hockey leagues. They started in the National League, so I went up and played with George up there for 2 years. I loved it up there. I married my wife up there 50-something years, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. For refereeing games, I enjoyed that quite a bit. The year I quit, I think Chuck Scherzer and Thomas started refereeing the year I quit. I used to tell the guys, the new guys trying to referee, I said, "You're the only sane guy in the building. You got the whistle." And I said, "No matter what you hear, you got to have the height of a rhinoceros and take all the stuff, because you're the boss out there." So I try to teach the young referees getting going. When I finished playing hockey, I played 3 years, and I wasn't going any higher than that, so I had to go to Tuck School at Dartmouth and get a degree, and to do that, get 2 teeth knocked out. So I went either going to go to the FBI or Merrill Lynch, and thank God I went to Merrill Lynch, because I'd be dead if I wouldn't be here tonight if I'd gone to FBI. So I had 47 years over there, and I retired now. This is a tremendous honor for me, and I could talk about some of the guys. I remember Lou Lamorello came at Sept. I used to run the no-hit league for years at the auditorium. In fact, it started with the guys from Brown. Thrill Harbor Day, 1941, we were playing hockey that morning at the auditorium, and later that day it happened, that day. Well, when I hit no-hit league one night, when the rink, George Meehan was a good client of ours, and he gave the money for the rink, so when the rink was put up, Andy Hunt, my partner, who was his son-in-law, we begged him to get us to get over to Brown. So we moved over to Brown on Monday nights. A lot of these guys here tonight never played there often. Lamorello came one night, and I was back playing defense, and he came down, he let that shot go, and damn, he took my head off, and I blew the whistle right away. I said, "Hey, we don't do that here, Lou, because you got a tremendous shot." So he damn near took my head off with a slap shot. And Rodman gave me the goal. He said, "Thank God." So that was when Lou was there that night, so that was fun. Who else was on that group the other night? The goalie, Terrari. I didn't know him until I invited him down to play the number 3 guest at Point Judith. He's a hell of a good golfer. And it was pouring rain. I didn't think he'd show up, but he did show up. And there was some playing up and play or not. And we were out to play, and he's waiting to bury the very first hole in the pouring rain. I don't remember what his game he ever finished that night or not. Sorry to take so much time, but it's a great honor for me. Thank you very much.
There's an old saying in show business, you don't want to work with kids or cute animals. There's a saying in the speaking engagement business, which is you don't want to follow that. That guy is great. Now for the first of our Hall of Fame presentations. You will surely recognize the voice on the video profiles created for tonight's ceremonies. It's none other than my old pal and Pawtucket native Dave Gosher, longtime radio voice of the Boston Bruins, and now the TV voice of the Las Vegas Knights. Escorting our inductees to the stage this evening and sporting the personalized Hall of Fame jerseys created for each of them will be members of the Brown and Providence College women's hockey teams. Representing Brown are Sina Hansen and Calla Isaac. And our Lady Friars tonight are Rachel Rockwell and Christina Putinha. Like so many national milestones in Rhode Island's incredible hockey history, this has special significance in that Brown University organized our nation's first women's collegiate hockey program back in 1964. Let's see the video for our first inductee.
Sarah DeCosta Hayes. Born in Warwick and a graduate of Providence College, Sarah DeCosta Hayes went on to become one of the most decorated players in U.S. women's hockey history. Sarah was a 2-time member of the U.S. Olympic team, winning gold in 1998 and silver in 2002. She was named USA Women's Hockey Player of the Year in 2000 and 2002, and she was later named a genuine Jewish heroine by Brandeis University. The first girl to play hockey in Rhode Island's Interscholastic League's championship division, she was named All-State while a member of the Tollgate High School boys hockey team. Sarah enrolled at Providence in 1996, compiling an 18-7-2 record with the Lady Friars. That year, she also made her first appearance with the U.S. national team. The following season, she starred in the team's pre-Olympic tour with a team-leading .941 save percentage and a 1.30 goals against average, including handing Team Canada its first ever shutout. She returned to Providence the following season and proceeded to lead the nation with a .943 save percentage while posting 7 shutouts. In 2012, together with fellow Friar and 1998 Olympian Vicky Movsession Lamarillo, she founded the all-girls Rhode Island Sting Youth Hockey Organization to build a new generation of Rhode Island girls hockey heroes.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome 2018 Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame inductee, Sarah DeCosta Hayes. Presenting her with her Hall of Fame medallion are her parents, Nancy and Frank DeCosta.
Thank you. Thanks, Mom and Dad. First, I want to thank the whole Hall of Fame board for putting on such a great event. This is first-class event here tonight. Congratulations to all the other inductees. It's truly an honor to be included with such a great group of guys. Like most of us in this room, I got started playing hockey thanks to my mom and dad. My older brother was playing hockey, my dad was coaching, I was always around the rink. I immediately fell in love with hockey, everything about it. From walking into their arena, going to the used equipment bin to find my goalie equipment, playing with my friends, everything, all of it. I was an extremely shy kid growing up, and I really found my comfort zone in sports. Whether it was the soccer field, the softball field, or the hockey rink, that was the only place I wanted to be. The love of hockey was enhanced for me by having so many great people and great coaches in my life at all levels. First, in Warwick Youth Hockey, I had Yogi Gardner, who's here tonight, who believed in me and gave me the confidence to start following my dreams. Mr. Kavanaugh, who is being inducted tonight, he would take extra time in practice to fire shots at me, and he would fire shots on me because he knew I'd get upset if I thought he was taking it easy. To my 7th grade teacher, Mr. Doyle, who had us write a paper on where we see ourselves at our 10-year reunion, and when I wrote I'd be at the Olympics in Japan, married to Wayne Gretzky, he didn't laugh at me. He said, "Sarah, that's a great goal. I'm sure you can do it." Mr. Oliver, who selected me to the Summer Saints teams with great players like Brian Berard and Brian Boucher. Then in high school, Mr. Gaffney, he didn't care that I was a girl as long as I stopped the puck. Of course, my brothers, Maddie and Frankie, and I do need to mention them because Matt did say if he was buying a ticket, he better hear his name. But thank you so much, both of you, for always being there to support me and the countless hours of street hockey. They were headhunters, so I quickly had to develop fast reflexes, so I owe that to you guys. My teammates, who all through youth hockey and high school hockey, they treated me like a sister. God help anyone who came into my crease with 15 protective brothers watching my back. Then I was fortunate to get the opportunity to play at Providence College, where I had my first ever goalie coach, Bob Belmore. Double B was always so positive, and he knew exactly what I needed to do to get to the next level. And I do want to thank Double B for not cutting me from the team when I let my very first shot from college hockey in from the red line. So thank you, Double B, for believing in me. Bob Deraney, who not only is a great coach, but one of the nicest guys I've ever met. I actually had another Rhode Island legend coach me for a year at Providence College. Many of you probably don't realize, Tom Sheehan. He never coached girls hockey before, and I'll never forget, we were a few games into the season, and I get a phone call from Coach saying, "Sarah, can you come down? I need to talk to you." And now I'm walking down to the rink thinking, oh my gosh, what did I do? He's gonna bench me. And when I got there, I sat down and I quickly realized he was kind of beside himself, and he said, "Sarah, why are the girls crying, and why are they bringing teddy bears and pillows on the bus?" So it was a whole new experience for Coach Sheehan. He quickly figured it out because it was one of my best years at Providence College, and my teammates and I absolutely loved playing for Coach Sheehan. My Aunt Catherine and Uncle Billy, who were always there for me. I always look forward to my golden wrap treats after my games. My husband, Mark, he may not be the great one, but he is certainly my great one. Thank you so much for all your support over the years, and for being not only an amazing husband, but an amazing dad to our 3 kids, Kylie, Cameron, and Connor, who are all skipping practice to be here tonight. I love you guys. I'm so proud of you guys. My parents, who drove their station wagon into the ground, driving my brothers and I to every practice and game. They were always so positive and encouraging. I can't look at them because then I don't get upset. But they're truly my example today of how to be a parent, and not only just a regular parent, but a hockey parent. I grew up playing boys hockey. I always played boys hockey, and the first time I was on the ice with girls was at a USA National Regional tryout. It was an adjustment, my timing was off, I couldn't stop a beach ball. Needless to say, I didn't make the team. And I'll never forget, I got in the car and I said to my mom and dad, that's it, I'm never playing girls hockey again. And knowing that was my dream, to go to the Olympics and play for the United States, they refused to let me give up. They found another tryout in Concord, and before I knew it, one early morning, my dad dragged me out of bed, literally threw me in the car, and like it or not, I was on my way to that tryout. And it was from that tryout that I got selected to the next level with Team USA. So thank you for that amazing lesson and not letting me give up. And thinking back on what I was going to say tonight, I realized how fortunate I was to have so many great people in my life at every level to inspire me and encourage me. Without all the people mentioned, and many, many who were not mentioned tonight, I know I wouldn't be standing here. Now I'm running the Rhode Island State Girls Hockey Program with one of my former teammates and best friends, Vicki Lamarillo. And that's what I try to instill in our girls as well as my 3 kids, is that the love of hockey has absolutely nothing to do with what level you play at or make it to, but everything to do with the great people you're going to meet, the coaches who will inspire you and then challenge you, the friendships, the laughs, and the character that you'll build. Thank you so much again for this honor.
Our next inductee is a Rhode Island legend as a player, teacher of the game to a Rhode Island generation, and father of the state's most accomplished hockey family.
Harvey A. Bennett, Sr. Harvey Bennett was synonymous with hockey in Rhode Island, both during and after his outstanding playing career. A 13-year veteran of the American Hockey League, most of which came in the nets for the Providence Reds, he was one of the most successful goaltenders of his era. Harvey made his professional debut with the Boston Bruins in 1944 and won the first of his 3 Calder Cup titles 2 years later with the Hershey Bears. He moved to Providence in 1947, starting his career with the Reds by leading the league in wins for 3 straight seasons, including an AHL record 43 victories in the 1948-49 campaign that ended in another Calder Cup championship. He helped lead Providence to another Calder Cup in 1956 with a season-long performance that was later recognized by the Society of International Hockey Research as the greatest minor league season of all time. When he retired from professional hockey, Harvey had appeared in 540 regular season games and amassed 260 victories. He was voted into the AHL Hall of Fame in 2013. His impact on the game in Rhode Island didn't stop there, however. He was a passionate promoter of youth hockey in the state, tutored hundreds at his hockey schools, and opened a hockey pro shop in Cranston that is still run by the Bennett family, nearly 50 years later.
Ladies and gentlemen, accepting for his father, please welcome Jim Bennett. Presenting him with their father's Hall of Fame medallion are his talented brothers, Harvey Jr., Bill, and John.
Wow. Ralph was my coach. Big fan of Sarah DaCosta. It's sort of emotional because there's so many people from our careers that are here. So I'd like to thank this group, Vinny and Samini and Mal Goldenberg, for putting it all together. Dick. Now, I'm told I'm the only Bennett that did not play Major League Hockey, as well as my mother. But Lou Lamorello said she would have made it, but she was sort of a hothead. I'll be brief. I'm going to try to channel some of my father's thoughts because he really was an interesting guy. He had an interesting approach of the way that he played the game and the way he wanted it to be developed. And it's funny because I hear all the experts, my son's just gone through the process now, and they say the same things now that he said 50 years ago. So he sort of was a little bit, I think, ahead of the curve, and we all certainly benefited from it. But just a couple of salient points. I mean, you know, look at, you got All-Americans here, and you've got NHL All-Stars here, women Olympians here. It goes on and on and on, all from the little state of Rhode Island. And I think he would be sort of amazed at that. But I think the other point is that how many kids went to college and weren't, you know, superstars, but they got into college, they got into junior college, and they got a chance to play and enhance their lives. So I think that was kind of one of the messages. We never really started off thinking that these guys were going to play in the NHL. I think it was more just an opportunity to play and go to college. And then briefly, I just need to touch on two people. There's several people, but there's one in particular that I think my father would want to talk about, and that's Lou Peary. So Lou Peary, obviously my dad played with him for 12 years, and he gave my dad a job, and then he actually got him a job after he got done playing hockey. My father had an 8th grade education, so Lou was one of his heroes. In fact, he always referred to him as Mr. Peary, never Lou Peary. And one of the things he did was he let my dad use the ice for an hour a week at the old auditorium. Everything you'll see is sort of interconnected. It all ends up at North Main Street at the old auditorium. So Lou was one of my dad's heroes, and he talked about him to the day he died. Talked about him. And of course, along the way, he got a chance to know George Army. And George, obviously, was the patriarch of a very famous hockey family here in Rhode Island. Tommy Army, I believe, is here somewhere, who's also one of my coaches. And George was kind of interesting because, you know, he's the trainer. And if you saw, you saw Ross Brooks here earlier, I mean, those guys, they didn't wear any equipment, Sarah. They had nothing they had nothing. They had no mask. They had, my dad's hands were mangled because he'd catch a puck and the hand would break. So he became very, you know, very early on, he made friends with the trainer, which was George Army. And I can remember that before we'd go to play hockey on Sundays, my dad loved George Army, loved Mrs. Army, and we'd go have a coffee. I was just a little kid, and whenever there was an injury, whenever there was anything, we didn't go to the doctor, we went and saw Mr. Army. And this one time, we were moving, and you know, the interesting thing, when you get stitches, which, you know, having 6 boys, there was always stitches, he would save the stitches, and he'd put them in this little gauze, and you have to take them home like it was sort of a badge of honor, something like that. Am I supposed to go? I'll shorten it up. So anyways, we're moving, and we open up the drawer, and there's this whole box of gauze, all these stitches that Mr. Army had collected over the years. So I had to talk about those two gentlemen, and I also would like to just talk about the hockey community. You know, these guys had great careers in the 60s and 70s, and, you know, through triumphs and tragedy, the hockey community was always with the minutes. So, thank you so much.
Trust me, if they're playing the music to shoo anybody out of here, it'll be me, it won't be him. Our next inductee owes a great deal to the man we just honored, and in turn, honored him with his own NHL career.
Kurt Bennett. Kurt Bennett was raised in Cranston while his father, Harvey, played goal professionally with the Rhode Island Reds. He would star in both hockey and tennis at Cranston East, be chosen a Providence Journal Honor Roll boy, and be selected an All-American at Brown University before becoming the first Rhode Island developed player to skate in the NHL. One of 5 Bennett brothers who would play professional hockey, the left winger earned All-American honors and captured a trio of All-Ivy nods during his 3 seasons at Brown. He was later inducted into the school's Athletic Hall of Fame, finishing his career with 50 goals and 85 assists. He was drafted by the St. Louis Blues to start a solid professional career, skating for several teams and scoring 334 career points, the second most scored in the NHL by a Rhode Islander. This included a 31-goal output in the 1974-75 season with the Atlanta Flames, which saw Kurt become the first American-developed player to eclipse the 30-goal mark in a single NHL season. He bettered his scoring output the following season with 34 goals and 65 points, earning his second consecutive All-Star Game selection. Kurt ended his pro career as a player-coach skating alongside his brother Harvey in Japan. He retired in 1982 and settled in Hawaii.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome, all the way from his home in Hawaii, Kurt Bennett, presenting him with his Hall of Fame medallion, longtime friend and former Brown teammate and roommate, Mr. Bill Gilbane.
Aloha. Can you say that? Aloha. Yeah, I gotta tell him. Vin got me come pretty far. A persuasive guy, and I know it's for a great event, because I had to think, now what is it you want to talk about, Kurt? And I think it is why does Rhode Island produce the hockey caliber it did and it's continued to do? And I came up with 3 things: the smell, the food, and the tough hockey moms. The smell, well, there's a phrase, "you stink nice." And my brother John, who was a Shakespearean scholar at Brown, as well as a rogue and rapscallion, taught me that because it didn't really mean something bad. I mean, Hamlet said, "Ophelia, you stink nice." And what it meant was the smell. And the smell was the Rhode Island Auditorium. We had just a little period Jimmy talked about. There was a mixture of sweat and leather, popcorn, and a little bit of urine. But that smell was hockey smell, and it got in your pads, it got in your shirts and your pants, and that was hockey. And I remember when I was playing in Madison Square Garden, unless the circus was in the elephant smell, but in general it was so antiseptic. It didn't have that rich smell that we had for hockey. And when I was in Atlanta, my son played, and my wife would wash his pants and his elbow guards and his shoulder. I thought, he is ruining that hockey smell. Because that's the thing that I thought made hockey. And if players play in the Reds arena, they know what I'm talking about. Food. Now I'm coming back here, and my brothers are making some great, we're having a couple big parties, baked stuffed shrimp, lobster, clams. These are what made you strong, at least in my mind. And I'll give you a good example. My first year pro, I went to Kansas City. I was playing the Central Hockey League, and in the Midwest, there's really not, you try to get seafood. If you're from New England, you always want to buy seafood. No matter where you go to China, you're going to try to buy seafood. And it's never any good. But I got called up at the end of the year to play in St. Louis against the Bruins. And when the bus reached the parking lot, the door opened, and the guard said, "Hey, mister, you can't park your bus near the water." And there's a thing called synesthesia, when one sense modality stimulates the other. And when I heard this wafting through the bus, I tasted lobster. There was a taste right just hearing that sound, and I missed it so much. And I'm sure it helped because you saw my brothers up here, pretty big. I think all of them played around 200 pounds, except Jim. And Jim, well, Billy was ahead of Jimmy, and he never got much food because of that. He'd have to kind of bite his knee and kind of, give me some food, give me some food. But it made Jim feisty enough to become a great hockey player too. And also, the thing about hockey was, you know, it was a Canadian game. And if you wanted to describe to someone, or someone described hockey as dumb, toothless Canadian thugs that like to beat people up. And I would confront them with that. I said, well, I have two brothers, Billy and Harvey. They're dumb and toothless. They're thuggish, and they like to beat people up. But they're from Rhode Island. Now, Jimmy and I, we still had our teeth. We had gone to Brown. People contended that, but I'd say, well, we'll wait for you in the parking lot after if you don't believe that. So it was that food, I think, that really helped us get strong and survive. I know that doesn't sound like a great one, but that's the truth. And the last thing is the tough hockey moms. And Jimmy alluded to my mom being feisty. Well, you know, my dad played professional hockey as well as the four of us. But it was really my mom who was our role model. She was loving and kind, and she could beat up all the other moms. My dad used to hit us on the head and say, you gotta be tough to be a hockey player. But my mom was wise. She'd use child psychology. If we weren't playing well, she'd deprive us of something we really wanted, like food. Coach used to say, Kurt, you're looking kind of thin. No, I haven't scored in 5 games. And I'll tell you this story because this is before I was born, but it's a great story. And my dad was a goaltender. You know how the Raz goaltenders, but someone was razzing my dad one night, and my mom went down and hit her with the purse. Whack! Police had to take her away. But in court, the judge, who was Judge Leach, who later became governor, said, Mrs. Bennett, this man is allowed to say what he wants to say, but you are also allowed to feel the way you do. And he fined her $1. And I thought, how Rhode Island is that? So those three things are what I kind of figured out about Rhode Island hockey that made it so great. And don't underestimate the moms. If you talk to most athletes, not just hockey, they're going to say it was their mother was the one that got them going. And in our case, my mom was like that too. So thank you very much for this award. And for you moms out there, I hope I gave you some good advice and get a higher stature in your family. Thank you.
Kurt's talking about hockey smells, and all I could think of was before my daughter's first practice at Mount for the year, I would make her open her bag in the garage, and it still got through the whole house. The recipient of our final presentation before our dinner break is known to all in this room, especially to 4 fellow charter class inductees.
Normand Bill Belisle. In over 5 decades as the head coach at Mount St. Charles Academy, Normand Bill Belisle transformed his alma mater into one of the country's most famous prep programs, winning 32 state championships over a 42-year period. A native of Manville, Rhode Island, Bill grew up playing pond hockey in northern Rhode Island before entering Mount St. Charles, where he played on their 1947 state championship team. His successes on the bench included a national record 25 consecutive state championships, a run that began just 2 years after Bill took over the coaching reins for the Mounties. With over 1,000 wins in his career, Bill led the Mounties to 10 consecutive national titles and transformed the lives of numerous young men who took the ice under his watch. A 2016 inductee into the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame, Bill guided the development of more than 20 players who would eventually be drafted by the NHL. These include 4 who joined him in this charter class of the Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame. Brian Lawton, Brian Berard, Matthew Schneider, and Keith Carney.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome legendary high school coach Bill Belay. Presenting him with his Hall of Fame medallion is his son and an outstanding coach in his own right, David Belay.
I stand here so proud to be accepting and also presenting to my mentor, my coach, my co-coach, most importantly, my father. I came in this evening, boy, if he could speak, the hockey talk he could give. When I came this evening, just like Jimmy Bennett, I got pumped. I was excited to see the Bennetts. I saw them. I saw Kurt play in the auditorium. This man took me to that. I saw the Wilson. I saw Ronnie play at Mount St. Charles and dangle around everybody in the arena. My father gave me that opportunity. I ran into a good friend, Mrs. Tapazzini. Your husband was something special. I took those rides with my brother Bill, my brother John. And once we saw the Sears Roebuck sign, we know we're going to see the Reds on a Sunday night, and Dad was taken there, and nothing better than opening up that door and smelling that popcorn and going through the smoke and watching the best hockey we could see. And also, he took us to those high school games at the auditorium, where his passion for coaching high school hockey grew and grew. And I had the pleasure, the absolute pleasure, being able to see him coach, but coach 4 extreme, talented young men and groom them into professional hockey players. 2 of them, #1 draft picks in an era when Canada was the teams. It was Canada's game, but not to Rhode Island. He just carried on a tradition. It was something special. You out there provided him with that strength that was God-given to him to be a coach of a game that he saw, that he played, that he loved. And you're going to look and you're going to see statistics. They're incredible. But the alumni, especially myself, because I've been with him for 38 years as a coach, and he's been actually my coach for 54 of my 59 years, so I know the man. What we're most proud of is the character that he teaches and that he builds. It's the character that all you inductees have inside of you and what makes us different. It's the character of dedication. A man who's been married to the same woman his backbone 65 years. It's the man who's not left the town he grew up in, where he gained his roots of volunteerism, and giving is better than receiving. Do you hear what I'm saying? He's a teacher of character. How can you play the game? These guys know that we're out here. Sarah, how can you play the game without being motivated? But you need somebody to bring it up, motivate for. I stand here, I can motivate because He motivates me. Just by standing next to me, I can feel his presence. I can feel the enthusiasm and the passion he has for the game. You get in the dressing room, you think you're down. You're not down because you got him behind you. Shift by shift. It's not game by game. If you work and you give 100%, but most importantly, if you play for each other, it can only be good. And he's been doing that for 45 years. I stand here so proud of all of you, all the inductees. You have given us memories. Bill Island has given us memories that are going to live forever. And I want to congratulate the Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame for doing something like this, because we are special. We are different. Kurt was right. There's something here in Rhode Island. Born in 1929. Doesn't know what an iPad is. But he knows what a hockey rink is. And he knows how to reach young adults. Coach Belial, to me, and I know to all of you, has put the exclamation point on pride, hockey pride in Rhode Island. Bang! We're the best. He represents you, he appreciates what you gave, and he continues to give to the game of hockey. And with that said, I will accept the award and he will thank his precious wife. Yes, 65 years, the backbone, the woman that made us tick, that made him tick. You don't get what he's got without a woman who's devoted to a man like this. She's a saint. That's his words. To his boys who are here today, Bill, John, and Peter, always there for him, always there, right from the get-go. To all his players who gave it their all, but gave it for each other, thumbs up. For all the opponents out there, the players who played against us, thank you for giving it your all and making us the best. I hope we brought out the best in you. For all his coaches that have helped him, some of them here today, along the way, thanks for making me who I am. And all the coaches who I coached against, thanks for your respect, because I certainly respect what you brought every single night. Thank you to the referees, thank you to the organizers who put these youth hockey programs together, and all you young coaches who are out there getting the kids to play the game the right way. I thank you all. But most importantly, I thank Jesus Christ, who gave me a father, who gave you the gift to teach the game of hockey the way it should be taught. God bless all of you out there, but most importantly, God bless Bill Belial.
I've listened to Kurt Bennett, I've listened to Dave Belial, and I'm standing up here on stage saying, what the hell do they need me for? What am I doing up here? Before we take a quick break for dinner and resume our program, I do want to give you guys an opportunity. You will see cards on your table. And what we're going to try to get you to perhaps make a donation for is this beautiful Rhode Island Hockey Hall of Fame scarf. There are forms on your table For a $50 donation, cash, check, fill out the donor credit card form. You can exchange them with the young ladies who will pass out the scarves at the end of the dinner break. These are very nice. And I would think that most of the people in this room would love the opportunity to wear one. Enjoy your dinner break. We will be back in just a few minutes and resume our program. Thank you very much.